Hey there YouTube, this is Mr. Budget coming with you with another premium deck profile, a very cheap premium deck profile by the way. This is Amon and his followers. So Amon is back. We never thought we were going to get him back, but lo and behold, Bushiroad had him up their sleeve. So here we are with the Amon deck profile. This deck is very good, it's a very control based deck and a very aggro deck to boot. The only downside to this deck that I've learned over playing it is that it loses to a heavy case of control. If your opponent can control you more than you can control them, this deck has a very tough time playing against certain matches like Link Joker, Norakami, kind of a little bit of Kagero, but anything else that can control it more than it can control them, it falls very hard. But we're going to go through it, show you what the deck is, how the deck is played, what are my choices, and things like that. And from there, I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll jump right into it. So we're going to move the stride zone out of the way, jump right into the grade 3s. We play 4 copies of the brand new Demon World Marquis Amon. So the brand new Amon states that act once per turn, you can choose 1 card from your hand, 1 card from your rearguard circle, and 1 card from your drop zone, and put those cards into your soul. Then your opponent is forced to put 2 copies from hand, rearguard, and drop zone into their soul. If they are not able to do so, Amon gets +1 drive. In addition to that, constant skill, Vanguard or Rearguard, Amon gets +5k on the Rearguard circle for every 6 cards in your soul. But if he's on the Vanguard circle, he gets +10k instead. Final skill is that for every 6 cards in your opponent's soul, he gets +1 crit. So if played very well, he can be a very, very big and very, very dangerous first Vanguard to ride on. So our second grade 3 that we play in this deck is 4 copies of Amon's Eye Agris. So Agris here is the stride bearer for the Amon deck. Now, what I would rather play is the Legion Mate, Amon's leader. Forgot his name, starts with an A. Well, we'll get back to it, or I'll put up a visual cue here. But I would rather play the Legion Mate, which allows you to find Amon and Legion with it. But unfortunately, it's a bit sold out right now, so we're gonna go with the Strybearer. Don't worry, having the Strybearer doesn't mean the deck is any weaker than I would have liked, because the deck this does help. So what Agris does is on ride or at the beginning of your ride phase, he looks at 2 Amon units, including himself, and they both get +1k for each card in your soul. So it can stack and get very huge. In addition to that, when you stride into an Amon stride, you can counterblast 1 and double your soul. So what this means is if you have 10 cards in soul, you immediately go to 20 cards in soul. For all of our Hope on Damp players, you should know how devastating that can be. This immediately jumps you from 10 to 20 in an instant, just for 1 stride. So that plays a part into our play style. You'll see as we go, but these are the only grade 3s that we play. So you may notice that we don't play Hope on Damp. You can, but we don't play Hope on Damp. So those are all the grade 3s. We're going to go into our grade 2s. We're playing the brand new Amon's follower, Ron Ginley. So Ron Ginley states, auto, when your opponent's soul has 6 or less cards in it, he gets +10k power. So he's like towards the beginning of the game when your opponent doesn't have too much cards in soul, he can be a very aggressive beat stick. And then he also has another skill, Vanguard or Rearguard, when placed, soul charge 1. Your opponent can choose up to 1 card from their hand and put into soul. If they do not, you get to soul charge 1 more time. So he can be a double soul charge if your opponent chooses not to put a card into their soul and help out our gameplay. Our next grade 2 that we play are 4 copies of Emblem Master. So the reason why we play Emblem Master is because of the next grade 2 that we're playing. We need Emblem Master to help us get 3 copies of things into our soul. So for all of our new players, Emblem Master skill is Vanguard or Rearguard. Counterblast 1 when placed. Choose one of your units and soul charge from your deck or drop zone 3 copies of that unit, including itself. It can choose itself, keep in mind. Then he has a constant skill. If you have 7 or more cards on Vanguard or on Rearguard or Guardian Circle, he gets +5k power or an additional +5k shield. So he can be a 10k shield when needed. And you don't have to have him on board. You can guard with him from the hand and he still gets his +5. Now the last grade 2 we play is Varrington Hardleg. Now Hardleg here is for our guard restrict. So most people who play DI go for the Hope on Damp. You have to guard with variance of 20. I tried it in the deck. It's not as easy to get off. But Varying Legs guard restrict is that your opponent must guard with 3 or more cards for the duration of my turn. If when placed, you show them 3 cards with 3 different names and 3 copies of each of those cards. Once you do that, they have to guard every attack with 3 or more cards. And this deck is when you're able to get it off, this deck is a 4 attack combo deck. So Hardleg is here to stay. I'm happy that we have him in premium. Unfortunately, you're not able to use him in the V premium. Speaking of which, we will have a V premium version of this deck out for you to see very soon. We have an Instagram. I will be posting it down below in the descriptions down below, so you can see those deck profiles and those deck lists out perfectly for your viewing pleasure all the time. But yes, we use Hardleg for our guard restrict. Very useful. Next, we're going to go into the grade 1s. We play 4 copies of the new Fu Ginli, Amon's follower, Fu Ginli. So Fu Ginli here is our main ride target for grade 1. This is what we usually want to ride into early to help us start our soul charging. So he has a once per turn act on Vanguard or Rearguard skill. Choose 1 card from your hand and put it into your soul and draw 1 card. And your opponent must do the same. It's not an if. It's a mandatory that they must choose 1 card from their hand and put it into their soul and draw 1. Then Fu has an additional skill. If your opponent's soul has 6 or more cards, at the beginning of your battle phase, you can soul charge 1 more time and choose 1 of your units and give it plus 5k. It's a small buff, but it's an additional soul charge. It could help, but most times you're not always going to get it off, and it doesn't mean that the deck is weak if you can't get it off. It's just an additional cherry on top if you can. Next, we play 4 copies of Alluring Succubus, which I'm hoping in the next Clan Collection, Volume 5 and 6, we get her as a reprint as a triple rare because she is very good. In my opinion, she's way better than Succubus of Pure Love in the casing of finding grade 3s. Her skill is on Rearguard, Counterblast 1, and tuck her into the soul. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck and look for up to 2 grade 3 units and reveal them. If you do reveal 2, 1 goes into soul, 1 goes into hand. So not only she's a possible +2 to soul, but she's also finding you your grade 3s. Now the last grade 1 we play is a very old card, Serpent Charmer. This card was a Dark Irregular staple back in G era. I'm glad that it's being resurfaced because of this deck. So Serpent Charmer is a non-generation break 1 card that states if you have 10 or more cards in your soul, he gets plus 2k. And then if you have 15 or more cards in your soul, at the end of your turn, you can retire this unit, choose 13 cards in your soul. Those cards stay. Every other card in your soul goes back to your deck, including triggers, go back to your deck. You shuffle and you draw 1. So this is a way for you to recur your deck and survive. Alright, last thing, we're going to go right into the grade 0s and our triggers. So we play 1 copy of Devil in the Shadow as our starter, normal starter, so we don't have to go into it. We play 1 copy of a Magnet Assassin. So Assassin here is what helps us do our multi-attack. So for those who don't know, Assassin states during your battle phase, during any battle phase, you may pop him out of the soul. If there are 10 or more cards in the soul, he gets plus 5k. If there are 15 cards in the soul, he gets plus 5k and another plus 10k, making him a 20k unit by himself. So he's a very good beat stick and a very good surprise for your opponent if they don't see it coming. We play 1 Dark States Overtrigger. Don't mind that this is an SP. I pulled it, but the Dark State Overtrigger is a staple in any premium deck until they get banned. But it helps the deck tremendously. It can save you. It can push the tide of the turn. in your favor. We played 3 copies of Liquid Fencer. Now, the reason why we don't play the Stride crit is because I don't have it. But if I did, these will be the Stride crits instead of Liquid Fencer. Liquid Fencer does help because it does go to Soul, give you a Vanguard plus 10k, draw you a card. But more not, you want to have other things to throw away for Stride Father than your grade 3s. No. If you have them, change these to Stride crits. Next, we play 4 copies of March Rabbit of Nightmareland, draw PG. We play 4 copies of Monochrome of Nightmareland. Currently, right now, in my opinion, the best stand trigger in the game because Taro got hit. Monochrome of Nightmareland is your counter charger, your draw engine, and your soul charge engine, all in one card. And the last thing we play 4 copies of Alice of Nightmareland. Now, you may be wondering why we don't play the grade 3 Hill Guardians. A, because we don't want it to be a target for Alluring Succubus, and we really want to take certain hits during our grade 2 turns, so we really don't want to guard because it kind of messes with the playstyle, and that 20k shield does come in handy when you can't G-guard anymore as just a big enough shield value in the deck. Because as you see, we have 15, 10, we need that 20k shield guarding just to help us level things out. So that is it for the triggers. We're going to go right into the Gzone next and show you what we play. So the Gzone is very simple, very straightforward because this isn't a Amon deck. So we play 4 copies of Amon's Red Eye Fornius. This is sometimes our first stride and sometimes our last stride. So Amon states, act once return, counterblast 1. Choose one of your rear guards and put it into your soul. If you have a heart card with an Amon, sorry, not even that. Counterblast 1, choose one of your rear guards and put it into the soul. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. Then, Amon gets plus 5k for every 5 cards in your soul. If you have 20 or more cards in your soul, if the power gain was 20 or more, you can choose 2 more of your opponent's rear guards and retire them. And if you have an Amon heart card, this stride gets plus 1 crit. So the reason why we play this is that because we also play variant hard leg. The idea is to get hard leg's regard restrict off and also get Amon's crit off. That way we have some pressure on our Vanguard circle, and then whatever other triggers we get, critical triggers or whatever we get, go to the rear guards, dealing more pressure. You really want to go into this playstyle once your opponent is at 3 to 4 damage, guaranteeing that you can get these crits or these hits off. But also, Amon is a very good way for you to get things off your opponent's side of the board. Next, we're going to our staples. We play 2 copies of one who splits Darkness Blader Mouse and one who hunts Soul Balam. So these are the other 2 strides that we go into. They flip themselves, so you can only go into them one time. So Balam here is to just do as a quad drive. Counterblast 1, retire one of your opponent's rear guards, gain all that unit's power, and plus 1 drive. And then Generation Break 3, if it comes into play, your opponent cannot guard with grade 1s or higher. Blader Mouse here is another way to help us recur our deck. Darkness, counterblast 1 when it attacks, flip over a copy of itself. Send all grade 0s from your rear guard and your soul back to the deck. That means triggers back to your deck. Choose 2 of your units, give them both plus 5k. And then at the end of the battle, restand, drive -2. So it's a restander, so it means you're going to get 4 drive checks off of this card. Either way, you're going to get a quad drive off of both of these cards. And they also do retire and recur your deck. So the next stride we go into are our Progenitor of the Beginning and our Zeroth of the End. So for both of these cards, the Progenitor can help you wipe a board, stride for free for only a counterblast 1, while Duskhair can help you end a game. With this deck, honestly, this is the only Dark Hereditary deck that I've ever got Dust off beautifully. Dust can help you end a game, counterblast 2. If your opponent's damage is 4 or less, ping them for damage. And all of their power and grade goes to 1, and all of their skills are nullified. So this can be a very beautiful finisher for this deck. For our G Guardians, we play one copy of a medical students of a extermination, Vincent. So Vincent here is our biggest guardian. On place, turn a G Guardian face up. Soul charge 1. This shield value goes up a +5 for every 5 cards in the soul. So if you have 20 cards in the soul, it's a 35k shield. This can get very big depending on how many cards you have in your soul. Then we also play 2 copies of Acumen of Attractment, Daru Nasu. Daru Nasu is our middle ground, plus 10k shield. If you're playing a darkness deck, it also is a +1 draw, but we don't have any darkness units in our deck. That's basically it. And then we have our low shield value, but our most soul charging value, which is in False Wings of Darkness, Agrat Bat Malat. So on place, soul charge 2 plus 5k to the shield. So you have our 5, your 10, and you're over as much cards you have in your soul. But you have our soul charge 2, and our soul charge 1, and our soul charge none. So those are your G guards for this deck. So we're gonna normally I would do a test hand, but we do have a fight video that will be posted alongside this, and also my friend who is in the video's deck profile for that fight. So look forward to that. We will get these out very soon within the week. But that has been the Amon premium deck. If you guys like what you saw, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you would like to see next. Any deck questions that you may have, we will be having an Instagram down in the description below. Also, our Discord is still up and running if you guys want to chat with us over there. We're always there. If not, you can just leave a comment down below for any questions that you have for any decks that you might have trouble building in the future. And we will be glad to help you with that. Get a deck profile out there for you so you can see how your deck can stack up. So, as always, this has been Mr. Budget saying, see you later.